Two of my friends, Mark, 33, Jess, 28. They didn't come back from the Grand Canyon. People say the Grand Canyon like it's a lookout spot with a railing. No, it's a city-sized hole in the earth that eats people. That place has more missing reports than any other national park. According to Google, over 1,000 people have vanished there. But people say it's dehydration, falls, heat stroke. They always say that. They said it to me. But I watched something haul a human body uphill like it was nothing. Look, I'm not saying all those disappearances are because of that creature. I don't know. But what I caught on camera was terrifying. So I'm not going to show you the footage right away. First, you need to hear what actually happened and how it started. And that's the part nobody wants to hear. So I'll start with this. We were 4 people when we went down there, but only 2 of us came back. And I've watched that video so many times now that I can't sleep without hearing that dragging sound. Before all this, I wasn't some crazy guy hunting monsters. I wasn't sitting up at night on message boards. I wasn't into any of that. I was 32 when it happened. I was working at a garage in Flagstaff. Brakes, pumps, electrical shorts, AC recharge. I wasn't a survivalist or whatever, but I hiked. You kind of have to, living up there. The canyon's right there. You go on weekends. You talk a little trash about tourists who show up in white sneakers and no water. That's who I was. There were 4 of us. Me. Danny, he was 29 at the time. He's the other one who made it out. Then there was Mark, 33, and Jess, 28. We'd all done little overnight trails before, nothing insane. Mark was the guy who always pushed farther. He had the ego. He carried more weight than anyone else and he wanted you to see it. Jess was the planner. Actual notebook, printed maps. The one who told us to drink water before we got thirsty. The one who would say, no, listen, that's not smart, and actually make you stop being stupid. Danny was just Danny. He was the joke buffer. He'd keep it light when tension started. So when I tell you this, understand how crazy it sounds to me too, because these were not people who just wandered off. That's what we were told later, that they wandered off, like kids in a grocery store. We planned that trip for weeks, rim to Inner Canyon, camp out, take some footage, make a memory. One of those, we're getting older but we're not dead yet kind of trips. You hear about people going missing down there. You see the flyers right there at the ranger station. Faces on weathered paper with last seen dates under them. I remember looking at one that was already sun-faded and curled at the corners. I remember thinking, that's messed up. They just leave that up like decoration. And now I get why they leave it up. It's not for respect. It's basically a warning label. We joked about it standing there. That's the sick part. Danny pointed at one flyer and said, hey, that'll be you, Mark. Get your good side ready. And Mark flexed for the camera like an idiot. Jess told us to shut up because some older couple was giving us a look. I filmed that. I still have that part. I can watch my friends laugh before all of this. That's the last normal video I've got of them. If I had known what was going to happen, we wouldn't have gone. And I know everybody says that, but I mean it. We wouldn't have gone. I thought the danger was heat. I thought the danger was cliffs. I did not think the danger was something that could pick you up and walk away with you. We went down in late September. That's important, because people hear Arizona and they think summer. This wasn't tourist summer. On the rim that morning, it was cool. You could see your breath a little. Hoodie weather, but the second you start dropping, the temperature hits you in layers. By early afternoon, inside the canyon, it was full-on oven, not warm. Not, it's hot out. I mean, the air in your nose feels like you open an oven door, and it's dry so you don't even notice how fast you're losing water until you stand up and your vision goes gray around the edges. People die from that, it's common. Rangers warn you about it. They don't warn you about anything else. I noticed something early that messed with me later. We weren't even deep yet, and we found a boot off to the side of the trail. Good boot. Mid-weight hiking boot, not some Walmart shoe. Looked like it had been there maybe a day. Just one. No blood, no drag. No torn laces, no broken branch. Just sitting there like somebody vanished out of it. Danny was like, canyon tax, and tossed it aside. Jess didn't like that. She said, that's not funny, man, and took a picture. Mark said, people drop stuff all the time, and kept moving. That detail comes back in my head every single time I think about what we saw later. There's just pieces of people down there. First night, We didn't even make the spot we were aiming for. Mark pushed too hard during the heat window and Jess started to slow down, and you can't leave someone behind to meet at camp later. That's how people get in trouble. So we called it and set up in this dry wash under a little overhang. Rock to our backs, some scrub brush, nothing fancy. It felt smart. It felt protected. It felt like we knew what we were doing. The canyon lies to you like that. That first night, that's where I think it started. I don't mean that's where it saw us. I think it already knew we were down there. I mean that's where it decided to try us. We heard coyotes the first part of the night. Normal. High-pitched, kind of yippy. You get used to that out here. Then later, after midnight, there was this other thing. I don't have a perfect way to say it. It wasn't a howl. It was lower. It had weight. You know when a diesel truck is idling in a closed garage and you can feel it in your ribs more than your ears? Like that, but stretched, long, deep, and it echoed wrong. The canyon's weird with echoes already. The sound bounces, shifts. This didn't bounce. It just slid along the rock. Danny goes, "Hell no. That's not a dog." And when Danny got serious, that was new. Jess recorded it on her phone. She said, "That's not wind," and I remember her face while she said that. She wasn't scared yet. She was labeling it. She was doing what she always did. Like, okay, that's a known thing, we'll identify it later. She was trying to fit it into a box. That's how your mind survives the first few steps of weird, you keep making boxes. We started hearing rocks roll too. Not big falls like a landslide, smaller. Like someone walking above us in the dark and kicking loose stones down without caring if we heard. Intentional. That's how it felt. Intentional. And here's the moment. Here's the first moment I should have said. We're done, we're hiking back up in the morning. Jess swept her light toward the ridge, and I saw eyes up there for a second. Not animal glow. Too far apart, too high off the ground, and they didn't blink shut like deer eyes when you hit them. They narrowed, like they were annoyed. I talked myself out of it the same second it happened. I told her, probably deer, and I said it like I knew. I didn't know. I just didn't want her scared. That part eats me alive. Next morning we act like everything's normal. We break down camp. We're sweating before 9 in the morning. Mark's in a mood. He doesn't like that we didn't reach his little perfect camp spot. He had this plan in his head and now we're off schedule. He doesn't say that's why he's mad, but that's why. He starts taking lead and pushing pace. By midday, Jess is getting lightheaded. We're already rationing more than we planned. The canyon does that. You think you packed enough water, you didn't. You never did. That's when we started snapping at each other. It wasn't like a movie yelling match. It was those short, tired jabs people do when they're running on low blood sugar. Danny told Mark to slow down. Mark told Danny to stop babying her. She's fine. She hikes more than you. Jess told everybody to shut up because arguing burns air and water. I told Mark we're stopping in the shade whether he likes it or not. He rolls his eyes. He looks at me and goes, "I'll just check the pass. It's right there. If it's decent, we move. If not, we set here." He points at this tight little break between two slabs of rock, like a squeeze point. Maybe 50 yards ahead, maybe less. That's the last time I heard Mark complain about anything in my life. He walks up to that squeeze. He turns the corner. Gone. Just like that. I need you to listen here. This is important. I am not saying gone, like he wandered for an hour and we never saw him again. I'm saying gone like we followed him within minutes. We called for him. At first it was casual. Mark, hey, that tone. Then it's louder. Danny's yelling his name. I start thinking, okay, maybe he fell. Maybe he twisted an ankle. I go fast, heart already jumping. I turn that same corner, and it's just empty. It should have opened into a small shaded basin with a split. Instead, it just felt wrong. I don't have better words for it. The air felt like a closed room. Still, heavy, hotter than it should have been in shade. Like standing in someone's mouth. He wasn't there. No slide marks, no drop, no cliff edge, no blood, no torn fabric, no prints that made sense. Just a couple boot marks that stopped. Stopped like you walked into a wall that wasn't there. People talk about panic like it's fast. It's not. Panic is slow at first. Panic is math. You start doing timelines in your head. He was here 30 seconds ago. He's not here now. 30 seconds doesn't get you out of yelling distance. So you yell until your throat hurts and that silence comes down like a lid. Jess is shaking now. Danny is swearing. I keep saying, stay together, nobody splits, like I'm suddenly in charge. I don't even remember deciding that. It just came out of me. I marked the spot with red tape from my kit. I wrote the time down, 11:40. I remember because I checked my watch, and my watch face was streaked with sweat and dust, and I had to wipe it on my shirt to see. I did everything you're supposed to do. You can do everything you're supposed to do and still not bring your people home. Nobody tells you that part. We stayed close the rest of the day. Nobody slept that night. Danny kept saying, he's got to be close, over and over, like that would make it true. Jess started crying without making noise, just shaking with her hands over her mouth, so whatever was out there couldn't hear her. And something was out there. I know that because of what happened next. Before the sun was even fully up the next morning, Jess said she was going to hike back toward the main trail to get signal and report. It wasn't a dumb idea. We weren't that far off corridor yet. She said, you guys stay here in case he circles back. She said, I'll be able to see you the whole way. I'm not going far. We all agreed. We could literally see the ridge she was headed toward. We could see the exact line she'd take. I watched her go. I watched her walk maybe 60 yards, maybe less, around a slow curve of rock. Same thing. Gone. No scream, no tumble, no help. She was there, then we lost line of sight for maybe 3 seconds, then she was not there. I ran. Danny ran with me. Adrenaline will let you do dumb things. We left the packs. We just sprinted that line she took. I cleared that curve expecting to see her crouched, tying her boot, waving and pissed at us for chasing her. Nothing. And this is the part that I still can't say out loud in front of certain people, because I'll start shaking. There was a mark. In the dust. Not like a body print, not like someone fell. It was a drag line. One long drag line like something heavy got pulled, but it didn't go down slope. It went up slope. Up. Like something stronger than me and Danny together had grabbed one end of her and just walked uphill with her like baggage. I followed it with my eyes. I swear it just faded. I don't mean it hit bare rock and I lost it. I mean it literally got lighter, like whoever or whatever was pulling her just stopped, leaving sign halfway up exposed ground, like it started carrying instead of dragging. I remember Danny's hands. That detail will never leave me. His hands were shaking so bad he couldn't zip his pocket. He just kept saying, no, 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 quiet like a kid. We left. We had to. People judge me for that part when I say it out loud, but I don't care. We were out of water. We were cooked. We were not armed. We were too. We got out because if we didn't get out, nobody would have even known where to start looking. When we found a ranger, I couldn't even talk right away. My tongue felt like cardboard. My lips were cracked and tasted like metal. That's dehydration, by the way, if you've never had it that bad. You taste metal and your pulse feels like it's in your teeth. I sat on the cooler in the ranger shack and I shook for probably 5 straight minutes. We told them everything, and they nodded, and they wrote, and they smiled in that way where they're not smiling. They flew a helicopter over the general area, middle of the day, bright sun, checked the obvious shelves. They said they'd send SAR. They said heat exhaustion kills more people there than falls. They said, it happens fast, people just get disoriented and go off trail. They looked me in the face and told me that. I said, we were right there, she was in sight. Something dragged her uphill. They kind of side-eyed each other. One of them wrote something down. One of them said, you've been under extreme stress. It can scramble the timeline in your memory. You'd be surprised. And then this line, and I'll never forget how casual he said it, we see this every season. Every season. Like this is just a normal canyon thing. 2 healthy adults vanish within a couple hundred yards of camp with no audio, no scream, and that's every season. Later on, in the official paperwork, they called it probable fall. There's the lie. That's when something inside me broke. If this was a movie, that's where the credits would roll and the audience would argue about what happened. But it wasn't over. Because after that, there's what guilt does to you. You ever had to call two families and tell them we lost them? You ever had to sit with somebody's sister and try to tell her we don't have a body yet and watch her face try to load that sentence like a bad file? You ever see parents who keep thinking you're about to say just kidding? Because a missing person is worse than dead. Dead is final. Missing is a door that never closes. You hear a knock at 3 in the morning and you think it's them. I didn't sleep. Danny didn't sleep. We started replaying what happened over and over. We'd sit in my living room with maps open, dehydrated food bags still on the table because we couldn't touch anything that reminded us of them. But we also couldn't put it away because that felt like we were accepting it. That's when Danny brought it up. He goes, "We go back." I said, "No." We tell SAR. We get a bigger push. He said, "They're done. They already wrote it up." And he was right. We were a paperwork problem, not an emergency. They'd run the standard search. They'd call it heat confusion. They'd move on to the next tourist who fell off a lookout for a selfie. "We go back," he said again. "We go with cameras. We get proof. We get them back, or we get proof." That word, proof, hooked into me. I didn't realize it at the time. Proof is addicting. Proof gets you through the night. Proof makes everything logical again. If you can prove it, then you're not insane. So yeah, we went back. I wish I could tell you we told our families and went in with backup. We didn't. We lied about where we were going. We told people we were doing a closure hike. You know, say goodbye, that whole line. That way nobody would try to stop us. We geared up differently. We bought cheap trail cams, the kind hunters use. Motion triggered, infrared. Brought extra SD cards, extra batteries. Brought a little satellite beacon. Brought headlamps, not just handheld lights. We weren't playing this time. When we drove back up near the south rim, the same lady at the gas station recognized us. She didn't smile. She didn't ask how it went. She just rang us up and said, "You boys don't want to go back down there, but not like a joke, like a warning." I should have listened. You know how the first time you go somewhere, it feels huge, and the second time you know the lines better? That's how the canyon felt going back in, smaller but heavier, like walking back into a room after a fight. It was like the air remembered us. And here's the messed up part. We found our old camp. We found the little fire pit. We found the spot Jess sat with her notebook. Danny just stood there staring at the ground. He wouldn't step on it. Like it was a grave. We set the cams up in a grid. One facing the slope above camp. One in the squeeze where Mark disappeared. One low, angled along the wash where we'd heard that deep sound the first night. We did it like we'd watched in search videos. We acted like we knew what we were doing. We were shaking the whole time. The first night we stayed, it started fast. The rock knocking came back. If you've never heard it, I can explain it. It's not random rocks falling. It's not natural. It's like wood on wood, except you're surrounded by rock. Hard, sharp hits. A pattern. Knock, pause, pause, knock, knock, pause, knock. At first, Danny whispered, "That's just rock shifting." Then he goes, "No, wait. Listen, it's answering itself." He was right. Echo bounces weird in there, but this wasn't echo. It was like one knock was up canyon and the answer was down canyon. Communicating. We also caught smell. This is the other thing nobody tells you. You always hear stories about seeing something in the trees. You never hear about the smell. This was like river mud that's been sitting too long. Rot, but wet rot. And like burnt hair. It was thick in the air. You could taste it at the back of your throat. Danny started whispering, "It's here, it's here, it's here." Over and over. He had his hand over his mouth, and his eyes were wide and watering. I've never seen him look like that. That wasn't spooked around a campfire. That was prey. We kept the fire low. We didn't talk after that. We heard heavy steps outside of where the firelight hit. Slow. Deliberate. You could feel the ground vibrate with each step. That's how heavy. And it wasn't a four-legged gait. That's the part that messed me up later when I replayed it. It wasn't step, scrape, step like a bear. It was step, pause, weight shift. Step, pause, like a person, a big person. We didn't see it that night, but it saw us. I know that now. It walked a slow circle around our tent just outside of where we could see. It was letting us know we weren't alone, but it wasn't rushing us. It was patient. That patience was worse than anything. Second night is when everything broke open. The canyon went dead around 2 in the morning. You don't understand how loud quiet can be until you hear everything shut off at once. Crickets, wind, even the little scratching noises of bugs and brush stopped. It was like somebody hit mute on the world. I woke up because of that. Not because of a noise, because of no noise. I sat up in the tent and I couldn't even hear Danny breathing for a second. That's how quiet it felt. Then I heard dragging. Soft at first. Shh, 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 shh. I thought I was dreaming. I honestly did. I thought my brain was just replaying Jess in my head. Then it got louder. Shh. Pause. Weight shift. Shh. I unzipped the tent just enough to look. I didn't turn on my light. I didn't want it seeing me. I just watched the dark. Nothing there. But the sound kept going, past us, past our camp, heading upslope, like somebody hauling a deer carcass. Except deer don't wear pants. I don't remember deciding to get out of the tent. I just did it. I grabbed a little trail cam screen, the handheld reader you can pop the SD card into to view footage, and I stumbled barefoot over to the first cam we'd set. My hands were shaking so bad it took me 3 tries to pop the latch. I slid the card in, scrolled with my thumb, and I saw it. This is where everybody leans in. This is the part people always say, "What did it look like?" I'll tell you what I tell them. I still don't know what I saw. I only know what it did. The clip is black and white because of the IR. Grainy. You hear little bits of grit hitting the mic in the dark, then motion triggers, and it lights that nasty gray-white. Something walks across the frame from left to right, upright. Shoulders wider than any man I've seen in real life. Arms long enough that the hands hang almost to the knees. The head's low, forward. You don't see a face, just bulk and movement. It's not running. It's not hurrying. It's just doing what it's doing, like this is normal Tuesday business. In one hand, and this is where my stomach just dropped out, it's got an ankle. Human ankle. You can see the shoe. You can see the pant leg. You can see the way the rest of the body drags behind it, shirt riding up, dead weight. The body's arms are flopped out, the head's back. You can't see the face because of the angle, but the way the neck is bent, it doesn't look like somebody who's alive and walking along pretending for a joke. It looks like a person being hauled. And this thing is just walking, uphill. Like that weight is nothing. Like you or me dragging a bag of laundry. I felt sick. My throat actually clenched like I was gonna throw up. My brain kept telling me, nope, that's staged, that's a prank, that's a ranger in a suit, but my body knew. My body knew that was real mass moving the way real mass moves. And then it came back, second clip, like 4 minutes later on the timestamp. This time it's dragging something else. Another body, smaller, lighter, one arm this time, not the ankle. The wrist is just hanging in its fist. The rest of the body bumps over rock, limp, catching and rolling. Head back, mouth open. I swear to you, I think it was Jess. I can't prove it, but the shirt looked like hers. That teal sun shirt she always wore because she burned easy. That's when Danny lost it. He was behind me by then, looking over my shoulder. He made this sound, this low broken inhale, and then he started dry heaving. He couldn't stop. He couldn't even catch his breath. His whole body was shaking. We were both whispering, no, 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 like that was going to rewind it. I think the worst part of that footage isn't even the bodies. It's how calm that thing is. It's not frantic. It's not looking around. It's not worried about being seen. It's just retrieving. Like we shot 2 deer out of season and it was cleaning up. Like we were in its freezer. I don't remember packing. I don't remember decision making. My brain was in survival mode now, completely. I just know at some point I realized Danny was shoving gear into his pack with his hands shaking, and I was tearing down cams and stuffing cards into my socks, my pockets, anywhere on my body. We left camp a mess. We never do that. You're not supposed to do that. We didn't care. We just left. And I swear to you, as we hiked out, we were being watched. I could feel eyes on the back of my neck like heat from a grill. Every few minutes we'd hear rocks shift above us, like something pacing parallel on the higher line, never running, just keeping up, escorting us out. There was one point, just before dawn, where the canyon turns and the moonlight hit this pale rock wall. I looked up. I saw it, full silhouette, tall, broad, long arms. The whole shape of it was wrong in that way where your brain tries to label it guy in a hoodie, but the proportions don't match human. Too much mass in the shoulders, too much taper in the waist, too long in the limbs, head pushed forward, not upright, like its neck came out of the front of its chest. It was just standing there, watching us go. It didn't chase. It didn't roar. It didn't throw things. It just watched. That almost scared me more. Predators chase. Territorial things charge. This wasn't scared of us at all. It let us leave. Like it decided who stays down there and who gets to walk out and talk about it, like it chose. We didn't talk the whole last mile. We were both crying and we weren't even trying to hide it. I've never cried while walking before. That's a weird thing your body does when it's past fear. Tears just run and you're not even sobbing. It's like the pressure has to go somewhere. When we hit rim level again and saw other people, normal people in clean shirts with little cameras around their necks taking pictures like, wow, look at the view, I felt this rage. I can't explain it. Just rage. Like you don't even know. You're standing on top of a grave and you don't even know. We went straight to the ranger office. We told them we had proof. You know what happens next? Paperwork happens, not sirens, not teams moving. Paperwork. They take our statement again. They ask us to hand over one of the SD cards for evidence chain. They say it matters for investigative integrity. We're exhausted, we're shaking, we're half delirious, so we give them one card. Not all of them. That's the only smart thing I did that day. I kept a backup. Danny kept a backup. We didn't tell them that part. They never gave that card back. They logged Jess and Mark as presumed deceased, likely exposure fall. That's the language. Exposure/fall. Like they just wandered off trail and gave up. Like we didn't literally show them footage of something walking off with what sure looked like their bodies. And then they told us, I'm not making this up. You've both been through an extreme traumatic loss event. We strongly suggest you don't watch that footage anymore because your brain can fill in what it expects to see, especially in low light conditions, especially when you're already operating on fear. So now it wasn't just they fell. Now it was you imagine the thing carrying them. That's the official position. That's easier to file. I didn't even argue. I just sat there staring at the table while this guy talked to me like I was drunk at a bar. Danny wouldn't talk at all. He had his head down and his leg bouncing a mile a minute. They walked us out after, like we were kids after a school fight. That was years ago. I'm still talking about it. I'm still seeing it every time I close my eyes. Danny won't talk anymore. He doesn't answer calls half the time. He drinks now. I get it. I don't blame him. You want to know the worst thought I've got? It's not that something pulled my friends out of that canyon and nobody's going to jail for it. It's not that there's something down there strong enough to carry grown adults like trash bags. It's not even that the park knows people go missing all the time and they just absorb it every season. It's this. I don't know if that thing killed them. I don't have proof of that part. All I have is proof that it moved them, that it collected them, like you collect anything left behind. So when I look at those missing posters now, and I can't not look, anywhere I go, if I see one on a bulletin board, I have to stop. I don't see lost hiker, probably fell. I see inventory. That's the word that lives in my head now. Inventory. Like the canyon keeps what it wants and it's not done. I think about Jess sitting there the first night, holding her phone up, whispering that's not wind, like she could still box it and label it and put it on a chart. I think about Mark rolling his eyes and saying, I'll just check the pass, I'll be right back, and how fast a human life can be erased from a place that big, without a screen, without a drop of blood, without even a boot print past a certain point. You want a happy ending? I don't have one. We never got bodies back. We never got answers. We got told a version that fits paperwork. And I walk around with this in my head, and every time somebody laughs and says, Bigfoot, ha, sure, I get this tight feeling in my jaw, because I've seen a man carry dead weight. I've dragged an unconscious guy before. I know how your shoulders lock up, how your back strains, how you stumble and curse and have to stop and readjust. That thing in the footage didn't readjust. It didn't stumble. It just walked. Uphill, smooth, like gravity was optional. I can't beat that. I can't fight that. All I can do is say it out loud, on record, in my own words, before anybody else rewrites it. Because here's what I believe now, and you can call me crazy if you want, those unexplained disappearances, they like to mention in a low voice. The ones that don't get bodies recovered, the ones they chalk up to, maybe they fell, maybe they ran, we don't know. I think somebody does know. I think something down there is taking people. And I think it's organized about it. I think it's patient. I think it waits, and it watches, and it knows the terrain better than any ranger or hiker or helicopter ever will. And we got in its way. And it let us go. That's the part that keeps me up. Not the screams, there weren't any. Not the blood, there wasn't any. Not even the dragging sound. It's that moment on the way out, when I looked up at the ridge and saw it standing still in the moonlight, just watching us leave like it was making a decision. Like it was checking us off a list. Like it was saying, you two can tell the story. The others stay here. That's what I live with. That's what I'll always live with. And if you're listening to this and thinking about going down there for fun, for content, for some bucket list hike, I'll tell you what nobody told us. The canyon is not empty.